Like, my organization skills totally suck sometimes.
Oh, wow. Well, I think we all can say that we struggle with that here and there, but
Well,
it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that you have to go through those
yeah,
situations. It's very
you know,
unfortunate.
and
It's very unfortunate that you have to go through a situation as such, because we already have to, struggle with so many things, if you will,
I,
and to have that additional situation is very, very difficult. I can only imagine how difficult it was. So how I want you to tell me a little bit about your healing process. You went through, mind you, again, you're going through your struggles. You're living with your disability. You experience this domestic violence when you're with somebody, or you think you're going to be with someone that's going to love you, that's going to care for you, that's going to be there for you, and it doesn't turn out that way. How did you feel after this happened? After you kind of it sunk in, how did you feel?
after everything was done with, I was, I actually figured out what was going on. Um, Honestly, I was angry. I I wasn't angry at one person. I was angry with everybody.
Mm.
I was angry at myself. I was angry at the people I called friends. I was angry at my business partners. I was angry at my family. I was angry at everybody. I didn't know who to be angry at.
Why did
You
you
know,
feel why did you feel to be angry at everybody based on that situation? Where did that seed of anger come from?
it took a lot of thinking. Um, Mind you, I started going to the National Alliance for Mental Illness to go through like counseling and all that stuff. But with all that, it really was like I didn't know who I could trust. I didn't know, um, like, not necessarily trust in who would hurt me, but trust in the sense of who was actually like, who was actually there for me.
Who was real? Who was
You know,
really on your side?
yeah,
Right. And for those
like,
and for those just tuning in just really quick, we are talking to a young woman who experienced domestic violence really not too long ago, and great thank God that it wasn't for too long either. She was diagnosed with spina bifida at birth. She also struggles with seizure disorder and just you know other different health related issues. And through it all, she went through this experience of domestic violence where this guy she met threw her off her wheelchair, gave her concussion, really brought upon other health issues, to her that were not necessary. And so now we're talking about her healing process and where she is now. Good evening to everyone there on Facebook. Thank you for joining in. Brother Richard, I see you. Donna J, good to see you this evening as well. Pastor Henry, good evening. And Reverend Crescent, Sister Marcia, good evening. Good evening to everybody. This is an important topic, guys, because it's something that often goes under the rug. It's not talked about, it's not heard. It's as if women with disabilities don't experience this kind of thing, right?
yeah.
And the reason for that, I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that,
Mhm.
Crystal, is that oftentimes as a society, we think, well, women or people with disabilities don't date, or they're
Mhm.
not going to get married or have children. So, and as I mentioned earlier, it's actually not true. And domestic violence
Most
is the leading cause, within women with disabilities. So go ahead.
Most definitely. And just to add on from what you were saying too, a lot of times I've kind of experienced people just telling me like, oh no, people wouldn't do that to you. People are nothing but nice to you.
Exactly.
You know,
Right.
just that kind of thing. Like, not exactly.
No, not exactly. That's not exactly the case.
You
So
know?
it's not the case. And it's again, I always talk about the education aspect of it,
Yeah.
and the inclusion in the community aspect, and that to
Right.
me it all boils down to the education. Unfortunately, the most common abusers of women with disabilities and people with disabilities in general are the ones that know them best, are their caregivers, are
Yes.
the the home health aides, the nurses, the family members. Those are the actual abusers, and obviously the partners. So
Mm-hmm.
it is very, very unfortunate, which is why it's so important to bring up upon more awareness every single day. The number of people with disabilities grows every single day. Therefore, it's something that is definitely not going away anytime soon. So going back to your story, Crystal, before we have to go, we were talking about after what happened, what was your feeling, and you were talking about how you were so angry. Then what became your healing process? How did you begin to heal?
With me, so I was born and raised like in church, my mom was like a devout Christian and stuff. And before that, I had a really strong relationship with God, a personal relationship with God. I had already overcome depression and bulimia by that point. And I really went through this whole stage of like questioning God. I was angry with God in the sense of like, you delivered me from all this. Like you delivered me from depression, you delivered me from all the bulimia, you delivered me from all this other, suicidal thoughts and all this mess. Like, why this? When I was questioning. And like I said, I was angry. I was yelling at God. I literally was yelling. I was like in the room just screaming. I was yelling, angry at God. And I ended up getting to the point of like, I was in isolation, honestly, like by myself in my room. Like I always say that too. Like everybody says they're in isolation right now with COVID and everything, but like then I had nobody. I was in my room by myself, and so I literally was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to the nearest church. And I went to a church that I could just roll to down the street. And even though I was angry, but I literally was like at the altar at that church, screaming my head off.
Wow.
During praise and worship, like yelling at God on everything I love.
I think that takes strength, though. I think that getting to that point where you're feeling that way and you have enough faith and enough trust in God to not blame him all the way, and to go to church and to seek that reverence and that community. Because that's another thing I talk about is community, and you knew where to go. And how were you received? What happened once you made it back?
It's crazy because, and I still say this all the time, like, and I talk about this on my Facebook Lives all the time. Like, I went into the church and I was thinking, mind you, I didn't have any makeup or anything, so I didn't have no cover up. I was bruised. I had like a on my cheek.
Wow.
And I went into the church, and on everything I loved, nobody looked at me weird.
Right.
Nobody, nothing. I just went straight in there. And like, I remember there was one lady who looked at me and she was just like, oh, do you want to sit closer to the front? And she like moved the chair out of the way and stuff. And I honestly think that she can tell that I was like searching more for God,
Right.
And so she asked me if I wanted to sit closer to the front, and she moved the chair out the way for me and stuff. And I went closer to the front and everything. And, I felt completely welcomed by everybody. And I remember thinking in the back of my head, like, these people got to see these bruises on my face. Like, I had a bump on my forehead and everything.
Like, do they see it, But I think that that's just a testimony. That's an amazing testimony that you came to a place where you weren't sure how you were going to be, received. You were received with open arms. And then what happened after you made it in and you were welcome?
It took months. It probably took about a year, honestly, but it was just being real screaming and yelling at the altar, and certain people, it was certain people. I want to say it was like maybe 2 or 3 of the ladies in the church. They kind of pointed me out, and they noticed that there was something up.
Right.
And they came and they had one-on-one talks with me and stuff, and I realized that I had a lot in common with them and stuff, and so we started to develop those relationships, and to this day, it's like, if I don't go to a couple services, they're like hitting me up, like, hey, where you been,
Right.
And all that stuff.
So it's to say that out of a tragedy strategy rather. You came back to God. You continued going
Yeah.
to church, and you came back to a community of people that cared.
Hmm.
God sent, literally God sent people that cared for you and helped you, you know, live again. They helped you
Yeah.
realize what it is to live again, and community, and what truly matters moving forward. So, it takes a lot of strength to overcome what you overcame, and now to be more aware of the signs, because there are signs, guys. And sometimes we don't want to see those signs because we want something to work. And
Yeah.
and I think it is important to mention that as women with disabilities, as men with disabilities, or any difference that comes your way, never settle and say, oh, well, this happened to me because this is what was supposed to happen to me, or this is like the only thing that I'm good enough for, and that's not a good way, a positive way of thinking, because we need to be reaffirmed that we are wonderfully made in the image of God, and
Yes.
because of that, He wants nothing but the best for us. Now He will send us experiences for us to learn from them, but then it's, what are we going to do with these situations? Are we going to learn from it, or are we going to risk it happening again? So Crystal, what did you learn from your experience, and what are your thoughts now? What do you look out for now when you're, are you back in the dating scene, and how has that changed?
I am on the dating scene. It took, I want to say, about a 2-year time period for me to just focus on myself. I had to focus on myself and totally I had to learn how to love myself again,
Absolutely.
you know. But I am back on the dating scene, and I would say that not just with this experience, but I want to say with all my medical experiences and just, everything all tied together, it made me realize that I need to not focus on my past experiences. My past experiences don't define who I am.
Your past
You know?
experiences don't define who you are.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
And like I said, it has to do with the DV situation, because I have trauma from my medical situations.
Right? The domestic violence situation.
Yeah, like with everything, it's all that stuff combined together just doesn't define who I am. And I'm more than that. Related to my relationship with God, I always say I'm more than a conqueror,
Yes.
and I always say I'm a daughter of the Most High. Like, those are the things that I choose to, define myself as.
That's your declarations, and what
You know,
what we declare to ourselves on a daily basis is who we're going to become. It is
hmm
it is who we're going to become, and therefore is how people are going to perceive you based on how you carry yourself on a day to
most
day
definitely.
basis. So, Crystal, I want to thank you so much for being with us this evening. Very incredible story of strength. I pray that you share your story more with so many women that need to hear it, and that so many more will have the courage to share their story as you did. And our connection was very impromptu, very, and it was
Right.
amazing. I think that that's when it happens the best. So I wish you nothing but the best. I am very proud of your strength, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Any last words for our listeners?
The only thing I would say is, I mean, if you're one that's experiencing, anything even close to this, because I know everybody's story is different. There is a way out. I was angry. I was yelling at God. A lot of times people think that there isn't a way out, and I know I didn't really touch on my kind of way out and the way that I escaped and everything, but I mean, it is an escape. But
I know music was a big part of that, right?
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
music was a very big part of her escape, church, the support, I'm sure.
you know,
Go ahead.
is I was going to say that there's just always a way out. Don't think that you're trapped and don't think that you're stuck, and with me, I thought that, I was alone and I thought that I didn't have any support, and I through everything, I ended up getting a whole new support system.
There you go. Even when you think you're alone, you're never alone. God will send you the people that you need to support you, to love you, and to guide you. And you're getting a few comments here from our Facebook listeners. Richard says that music always helps. Sister Laurel says, thank you, Crystal, for sharing your story. So know that people are listening, and we're definitely going to continue to share, and you're always welcome. So thank you so much, Crystal, for sharing your story with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. That's how you got it, guys. It's a crazy world out there of so many experiences that we know nothing about. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you all for joining me. I see everybody there. Sister Selma, good evening. And I really hope that, someone got something from that story. And if we can share it so that so many more people can listen to it and know that they are not alone, that it is possible, that there is community, and that there is always a way. God will always make a way where there seems to be no way. And so again, thank you for joining me tonight on this episode of Yes with Yesse. Tomorrow is Friday. It's Friday, okay? It's Friday. It's going to be Fun Friday, so make sure you join us again tomorrow morning for Fun Friday with Pastor Henry along with Pastor Steve. You don't want to miss it. Mommy Jasmine, good evening. It's okay, you're late. You can always go back and listen to it. We appreciate you very, very much. And so, guys, I want to encourage you. Remember that there is no new season without you. Share, support your favorite station, guys. Support. We can't do it without you. So as you guys know, ways to support and give are always listed on the screen. For those of you listening to us on 89.1, ways to give are right on the website, newseasonfm.com, Cash App, $newseasonwc. You can Zelle us at 954-536-1821. And if none of those work, and you're old-fashioned like a lot of us here are, you can always go ahead and write a check. You can write a check to New Season, to 4660 North University Drive, Lauderhill, Florida, 33351. All of that information is on our website on newseasonfm.com. So please support our favorite station. Go ahead and check the website out, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All one word, New Season Gospel FM. Subscribe and you'll never miss a show again. And so I will see you on another episode of Yes with Yesse next week, Thursday, 6:30, same time, same place, same person. And again, of course, on Monday for Latin Monday. So I'll see you before Thursday on Monday for Latin Monday at 8 a.m. alongside Pastor Steve. So until then, guys, have an amazing rest of your week. Have an amazing weekend. Like, share, and invite so our Latino friends can join us on Monday, on our Latin Monday at 8 a.m. And again, if you're in the area, visit us on Sunday for our 11 a.m. service. Same place, 4660 North University Drive. We look forward to seeing you. So until then, have a blessed evening and an amazing rest of your weekend.
Our God